Hi peeps, this is a technique video because it's Tuesday and we're just going to look, I've done a technique video previously on your position in plank and for press-ups and that plank position is used in an awful lot of cardio exercises that we do in the studio and things that you're using to get your heart rate up in HIIT programs and other high intensity workouts such as burpees and squat thrusts, and we do some running and dropping onto your belly as well in classes either in the studio or up on the hills. So lots of exercises where you are jumping and going in with force into a plank position and then coming back up to standing again. So I just wanted to talk about how to make sure you're doing those right and really maintain a good strength through your core and protecting your back as you're doing those exercises. So let's have a look at what we're talking about. So for instance, if you're wanting to do a burpee, you're going to drop down onto the floor, extend into a plank. You may then put a press up in, or you may drop right down onto the floor and then come back up. What I'm going to demonstrate is the exercise going into a plank. So the idea is to make sure that you're really strong all the way through the movement, not just thinking about your core when you land into that plank position. So engaging that core by drawing the belly button in and lifting through the pelvic floor, thinking about just shortening that distance from pubic bone to sternum so that you're already thinking about it before you hit that pressure point when you're putting force through your plank as you jump out into it. So you're going to drop down into a squat here. You're going to then jump out into plank, and you want to jump out into that nice firm position here. You're not jumping down there because that's putting an awful lot of downward force through the middle of your back, and you're not just taking it a halfway house out to here, although to be fair, if you can't hold a strong plank and you can't do that because your core is not strong, this is much better than that from the point of view of protecting your back. So out into that plank position, you may then choose to do a press up, maintain that position as you drop down and come back up. So no sagging at the bottom, jump back in and come back up and do your jump, okay? So the movement is squat down, jump out into that strong plank, jump back in and jump. Think about the core all the time. The alternative is that you drop right down onto the floor, and this is where it becomes even harder and you have to really think about that core as you come back up. So you drop down into a squat, jump out, drop right down onto the floor. Now this is the point where you really need to make sure that your core is engaged, because you're going to push your bottom up first, not your shoulders. Okay, because that puts you in that dangerous arched position. So bottom pushes back towards your heels, jump in and up. So if we go through that again, squat, jump down onto the floor, push your bottom back over your heels, jump in, come up. So those are the things to really think about in a burpee. Shortening that distance here, engaging that core, and really think about pushing your bottom back up. So let's look at 3 options, okay? So your easy option, squat down, half jump out, bottom stays high, jump back in and up. Full extension, strong plank, back in and up. Or down onto the floor, push your bottom over your heels, jump in and up. Now if you think about that technique through anything that we do down on the floor, so for instance, if you're coming out to do plank jacks, strong plank, out and in with the feet, it's not here with the hips extending and putting that bend through your back. Now yes, the easier option is here, and the further take your feet out, the better, but your weight always stays forward over your hands. The further back you are in any of these movements, the harder it is. So bring your weight forward, tuck that tailbone, engage the core, and plank jack, or mountain climbers, or running in that plank position, but all the time keeping that long line from the crown of the head, certainly down to your tailbone, preferably down to your back foot. Okay, so if it comes up, that's one thing, don't let it come down. Okay, I hope that helps. Really thinking about those points of long line, pushing the crown of the head forward, tail back to the other wall, drawing that belly button in, shortening distance from pubic bone to sternum, and remembering it is better to have your bottom slightly high, not because you've arched it high, but because you've lifted it, keeping that position here, than it is to have it low. Hope that helps.